According to the World Health Organization, 1 out of 10 people die because of contaminated food. Over 200 diseases are associated with contaminated food. That is why 7th of January is earmarked to celebrate the safety of food. So 7th January every year is celebrated as World Food Safety Day. Ahead of the day, I am at the National Food Safety Laboratory to engage and know what goes on behind the scenes before you get your meat on the markets, because mostly we focus on food crops, but this time we are looking at livestock, we are looking at meat, we are looking at protein in general. Welcome to Food Chain.
Thank you.
Right. Food Safety Day is approaching. We don't usually talk about meat, but here we are. So can you tell us the importance of, ensuring that meat or protein in general is safe for the Ghanaian populace? What does it entail?
Great. You could realize here in our country, over weekends, during funerals, weddings, parties, any Ghanaian who find himself in these places will taking a protein. Each day, we taking egg, we consume milk, we taking honey. Honey is an animal food product which many people are not really aware. The typical Ghanaian would like to even consume snails, and we have the bushmeat. And there's a need to ensure food safety starting from the farm to the fork. So what do we mean by the farm? It means farmers starting animal food production. There's a need to put in the right procedure. What kind of breed are they taking into consideration of rearing? What kind of food are they giving? Let's not forget, the type of food that we give to the animal is what will make their body, their flesh, which will be food for us in the long run. So if you give them anything, it's like cabbage in, cabbage out. That's what the type of food we have. I know sometimes when people get to here in Europe, pigs being kept in air-conditioned areas and the type of food, we get amazed. It's because they realize the importance of food being served on their table. So their product will taste differently because of the kind of process they found ourselves. For veterinary services, it's more important because we deal with farmers in this food value chain. In terms of disease management, in Ghana, when people hear about bird flu, when it comes to pigs, they hear about flu, people get scared. And these are issues of importance, like anthrax, which last year we are unfortunate in Ghana to have an outbreak and losing lives. These are foodborne infections or illnesses that had happened. And there's a need for us to ensure that as veterinary services, as a regulator, with a mandate to seek to the welfare of the country or the public through promotion of food safety, we need to make sure this is done. So what do? We try to train these farmers, and currently there's an initiative called Farmer Food School, which occurred in Bono region, Western region, trying to take farmers through the best practices to apply their farm. And the good news is that they've accepted it. And we started with the poultry, whereby now eggs that they produce from layer production, they realize it takes longer than the normal eggs because they are using antimicrobials, that's the drugs that we know, antibiotics, prudently. I said that they are calling for veterinary intervention. It's not all situations they see on the farm that needs to be given medication. And these are things that they are loving it and they are producing food better. They also get to understand what we call withdrawal period. Because many a time we forget that the drugs that we take, the same drugs that the animals take, just that they are in different forms and other additives are added. The penicillin that we take, they are also taking penicillin, doxycycline, all the antibiotics that we could mention. The same to the dewormers, they also have their own form. So there's a need to look at it. So when we talk about food being safe in the animal production area, we look at the food that is not bringing a human any disease after consumption. Even the preparation, you don't get issue of infection, and two, you're not picking any residue. The sad thing about chemicals or toxins that are found in these products is that sometimes they don't manifest immediately. They may be long-term effect. So we realize that we are seeing people now having issues with kidney failure and liver because these are toxins that we're getting from food. So currently veterinary services look at strengthening food safety, our role and in terms of regulatory, especially what kind of food that's entering the country in terms of imports. So now our blood samples come in, we check. Before that, we check for alerts in case the area or the country that these products are coming is having an outbreak like bird flu. Quickly, we'll check the product that comes in terms of virus, whether we have a bird flu. Then we check for other bacteria. The key ones that all over the world is E. coli and Salmonella because of the issues that can concern. They also check for bacterial contamination. Once they are within the standard, within the limit that we are okay with, they are off the Salmonella E. coli, then we are able to declare it fit for human consumption. And these are good things. Now, there's one thing that happens in the country that many people forget. We hear of why do you go for veterinary movement permits? Why? Because as a country, if there's...
Well, what is even a veterinary movement permit?
So it's a permit that is given to a farmer or any person who wants to move an animal from one region to another, one place to another. Why? Because once you go to a veterinary center to take a movement permit, maybe you are moving it from Accra to Cape Coast. Before I issue the permit, I know what's happening in Cape Coast. So if there has been a ban on movement, I won't issue. So you don't introduce any disease there because it may affect their animal production there, and that can also affect the food value chain, both in terms of insecurity. That means a lot of animals may be lost and will affect our food production system and also the safety of it. And some of them have zoonotic, which becomes an issue of concern. So these are things that we do before it's being allowed. So before the veterinary personnel issue that movement permit, there are things that he checks for. Whether the animal is fit, is not on medication, is not sick, is okay before it moves. Then when you go to a slaughter facility, our laws, which are being updated with the meat inspection rules, are asking that every slaughter facility should have a veterinary inspector. The sad reality that people are now having what we call the poultry processing plant. And because they call it poultry processing plant, they don't see that as a slaughter facility. A poultry processing plant is a slaughter facility because basically it's a poultry birds that are being slaughtered there. And these are places that they need to be there to check to see the right things are being done. The animals are being, how do you call it, slaughtered in a humane way. The kind of equipment being used, the safety is ensured. Because if they're not cleaning this equipment, they're not using the right distance. We may get the birds or whatever may be infected. We may see it clean when it's being bought at the market or being at our restaurant or supermarket. But we as the lab people, when we pick and we come and run analysis, we may be seeing some contamination there. And sometimes we even see residue there, which the ordinary Ghanaian or any person cannot even see with their own eyes. So we have a lot of role to play. And that even informs us once in a while to do what we call surveillance. We go around farms, and sometimes we are looking at even go to supermarket, buy those things randomly, like the normal customer going to buy, just to have exact what it is. Because sometimes if you inform people that we are buying this, they may give you what might not be the best. So sometimes we even go to live bird market, which we have done it for more than 2 or 3 years. We go to the live bird market in Accra, we buy the poultry birds that are selling to the general public for slaughter, and we come to slaughter it ourselves, or we allow them to slaughter, we pick the sample that we need and bring it to check whether we are safe. So far so good, our data is showing that yes, things are going well, but we feel people need to be educated before people become to relax their, how do you call it, their guns in terms of doing the right thing. These are things of consent. And as a food safety lab, we felt not just running laboratory samples, but they need to disseminate and also involve ourselves in sensitization. And this year, team is saying it right. It said food safety, prepare for the unexpected. Unexpected means a lot of things may be happening. It can be a disease outbreak. It can be in terms of food going bad. Especially, there's another area we've been drawn attention to. That means our electricity stability, because people are giving cold stores, especially in relation to animal food products. 4 days of light out and the cold room is not really functioning well, the product will go bad. But sometimes who goes to check all those things? And in case the light comes back, the thing was almost getting rotten, but because light came back, they will be able to repackage or get it back. And the thawing and the freezing sometimes give chances for a lot of things to happen. We may not get to know, and sometimes when people buy them, especially at the restaurant, you go there, it's already fried, so the kind of scent that you may look for, you can't get it. And these are things that our veterinary service is looking to seek to do all those things. Actually, we're supposed to go randomly to be checking all those things from time to time, so that the public get to know that yes, they are safe in buying all those things. And one attention is the honey, which now people are being careful about, because now people buy, let me say, honey, but it may not be honey. It can be something else that has been. These are issues of consent. And even our eggs that we are getting, are they really safe? Are we buying eggs that are good? Now people buy eggs and within a crate, instead of getting 30 eggs fully good for consumption, they end up seeing 10 or 15 already spoiled or not good for consumption. So they have to end up throwing this away. So these are issues of consent.
Okay, and let's talk about the vet movement. There have been so many cases where in Ghana we've had nomadic, herdsmen approaching, settlements and farms and all those. How do you manage that?
Great. So when it comes to nomadic, it's a big issue, and it needs a multi-factor approach. There's a social-cultural part of it. So I think now we realize it's better than first, because we brought a lot of key stakeholders. They have leaders, they have chiefs, the people who can understand the language, national security, and we had a round table to discuss the issue to put up a path. So that's how now it has come down. We're still looking at ways of veterinary services have suggested the government on looking at ranching points within every region, so that we could map it. So when you're coming through maybe one of our border, we give you the direction. So we tell you that you can move it from year to year. That's one thing that we are hoping it will materialize, so that they don't end up going to put these animals on people's farms. If there are ranching points in every region, so when they move, because no matter what, their system is nomadic, they are going to look for greener pastures. So in dealing with them, you need to create opportunities or create chances for them. If not, just enforcing the laws will not really work. And so far, the government on this one have established a national ranching place at Farm Plains, which is ongoing to check all those things. And that is a model that I think for the past 3 years they have done. And we are hoping they will replicate it in every region, so that it will allow this kind of nomadic movement becomes controlled, and it will help us because it will help us really track where they move to before they end up in a sort of facility. And if in type cases that happens along the side, because you hear people complain that they lose their cattle because when maybe nomadic people are moving, so other cattle get to add up and all those things. And we're even looking at what do you call it, an education system for this to trace and to reduce the type cases around this issue.
Two things. When you visit the supermarkets, when you visit the restaurants, and you take these samples, and you realize that it's not good or safe for consumption, what do? You shut them down? Great.
So the food safety situation is only one agency. Veterinary service we have a role to play. Ghana Standard Authority also play a role. On the secretary, we have Food and Drug Authority. So depending on where the what do you call it, establishment falls, we communicate. But if it's a farm, quickly by law, veterinary can shut it down. So that facility we could end up shutting down within a day. Once the supermarket, some supermarket they have other products, so we have to quickly discuss with what do you call it, Food and Drug Authority. Which last year I think it happened in one of the shopping mall. The chicken area was shut down because they realized that what they called as a meat product over there wasn't what was intended. So we have to go in and jointly get it closed down. So these are things that we do with other stakeholders. Now, Ghana has a national food safety policy. That's the good news. We have a secretariat, which is being held by Food and Drug Authority. We have a technical working group with veterinary services, a member of which we are now streamlining all these areas of food safety and look at certain mandates. Some mandates were being overlapping, and now things are being streamlined.
Okay, so I want you to talk explain a little bit about the residue of antimicrobial, whatever, and the fact that animals become resistant to the drugs they take, and it becomes residual, and as humans we end up consuming it, and it leads to so many things like diseases, and us also not being able to react properly to certain drugs that are supposed to do certain roles or what have you.
So when it comes to residue in food, one is going for food because they're looking for the necessary nutrients. But if something go wrong, you're going to see some residue. What are the residue? It can be a chemical, so it can be a pesticide, it can be an antibiotic residue. This is what we are looking at for primary production. But sometimes in process and packaging, people may add preservative, they may add flavor and all those things. Are those things also containing certain things, chemicals that need not to be there? So we will stick more to the primary because that's where. So we are more concerned when it comes to calamity, because when our water body gets polluted, what water is used to give it to the animals is the same calamity. So if the mercury, the chemicals they are using for these activities are found in the water body and these animals are drinking, it don't go anywhere. They will be within the body, though some will come out through excretion. And we look at the area of pesticide, the kind of pesticide that are used for crop production. In case we do go for this product to feed animals like maize and all those things. So if they're not used well, the processing of this maize is not done well as we are making a feed for them, and they are still found in those things. These animals will pick them up and becomes another issue. Then we also, the reason why veterinary service is needed at the planning stage is the topography of the land that people have their farms, especially if there's a farm on a hill that there was pesticide spraying, and there's a like in times like this where we are having rains and the washes off, it goes down and the farm gets flooded. We have had a lot of animal farms getting flooded. It gets to those farms. These animals will by all means have a chance, or may get to the water body or the water source that animals are drinking from. These are ways that the animals may get the pesticide into their system. Then when it comes to the area of aquaculture, that's where a bigger issue do happen. So with the farms that have pesticide sprayed and water washes off into these water banks, which is keeping fishes, they get to enter into the system of these animals. And at harvesting time, they may have not excreted all. And this is what will end up. The issue about residue is not like other organisms you say with heat, you get them killed off. It's liquid, it's evident. When you heat it up, it's like you made it hot. So when it cools down, it's still inside the meat or it's inside the fish, and we get to consume it. And the sad reality with antibiotics is that the more you take it, we have talked about drug abuse in the past, and now the attention moved to drug antimicrobial resistance. Why? Because we are getting to a point whereby the germs, the drugs that we have applied, the drugs that were trying to kill them or try to destroy them, now they're not able to destroy them. They're rather growing bigger and even causing more harm. That's what antimicrobial resistance is. So it's not the animal itself, we talk about the poultry bird or the pig. It is the microbes, whether being virus, whether being bacteria, whether being fungi or a parasite like worms, becoming more stronger, and now needs a higher dose of that medicine that first it will use, it will have killed it, or you need a different combination so that it gets to kill it. That's what we come with antimicrobial resistance. And this residue, when we take it through fish or meat or egg, or through the milk, because like cattle, we get up taking it. We are not sick, and we are taking it into your body. So your normal flora will become used to, or in case you have a little bit infection, they are getting used to, like children when we go to school and you are being caned always. You get the time become odenshi. So like nature, that's how the germs also become. So the time that you get severely sick, that you are expected to have been healed from it, no. The drug you go, they prescribe the drug. The doctor is able to diagnose, give you the same drug. Because your immune system is using the same drug, it doesn't work, and that makes you take it longer. You get to have longer stay in hospital. You get to you have to change the drug, buy expensive drug. Sometimes you have to even import that drug, and people have died not because of the disease, because of treatment failure, because of antimicrobial resistance.
We currently are in the media preparation room. So this is our sterile room. Over here we prepare media to support the culture of the microorganisms, and we also store, using our fridge, we also store our antibiotics, which serves as supplements which we add into the media to make it selective for the growth of some microorganisms. We also do water distillation right here, and we do sterilization of glasswares also here. We have a pH meter over there to help check the pH of the various reagents we prepare over here. And we have a water bath to regulate temperatures to optimum level before we pour our media. So the process is you weigh, so there's a balance there. You weigh your powder based off of the volume you want to prepare. After you weigh, you add your distilled water. When you add your distilled water, you then check the pH to be sure it's meeting the pH as directed by the manufacturer. So when you check the pH and it meets the pH, so we record everything here, just so if there is a discrepancy, we can trace our lines and know where we went wrong. So after you measure the pH, you put an autoclave tape. An autoclave tape is to serve as an indicator to know if the media has been sterilized. So you put an autoclave tape on the bottle, and then we place the media in the autoclave. So it's the temperature that is used for autoclaving is 121 degrees for 15 minutes. And then from the 15 minutes we time, And then when time is up, we turn off the autoclave, wait for the pressure to go down, because it works under high and intense pressure and temperature. When it goes down, we open the autoclave. We cool in a water bath to obtain. So if you overcool, it will solidify in the container. So this is solidified media. But then we would have to pour before it solidifies. So we use a water bath to keep it at an optimum temperature. So it's cool, but not completely cool, so that you can pour it into plates where streaking can be done. So streaking is to spread out the organism so it grows, so you can identify it based off of how it looks. Then yeah, so after you pour into plates, you do sterility check to be sure that the media is not contaminated. And after you do your sterility check, you come the following day to check if indeed it wasn't contaminated. And then moving forward from there, you do a reproducibility or a growth check. So after I've produced my media, I'm supposed to culture an organism on it to be sure it supports the growth of the organism for which I have prepared it for. So if I prepared this media for Salmonella, I'd have to culture Salmonella organism on the media. And if it's gross, it means it does support the growth of the organism. If it doesn't, what went wrong? Because this is the media supposed to be for the isolation of Salmonella. So yeah, that's what we do. So literally it takes one or 2 days from preparation to confirmation, like reproducibility check. So 1 to 2 days, your media is good to go. But for the broth, 1 day.
Here is the reception room, sample reception room. And what we basically do here is to assess the samples that come in. So these samples that come in, we are to ensure that these samples meet the right conditions, that if I may say, are fit for purpose. So when these samples come in and we do all these checks, we actually send them over to the various labs for analysis. So this morning we had a sample that came in, which is a beef sample, came in from Bolga. And what they want us to do is to check for residue, specifically for vet drugs. So when these animals are at the farms, the drugs that they give to the animals, they are in fact to observe some withdrawal periods. When they observe these withdrawal periods, it allows the animal to be able to shed off these drugs, so that it's not passed on to human in case they are slaughtered or killed for consumption. So this sample that came in, this sample should come in with a temperature, average temperature within 4 to 8. So we did the check with the thermometer here, and then we actually got 3.6 degrees Celsius, which in other words tells us that it's fit for purpose. So we pass it on to the nurse, to the lab that had to do the analysis.
My name is Alberto Usefi. I'm an assistant veterinary technologist at the National Food Safety Laboratory. So for the work that is done in the microbiology lab, first and foremost, when we get samples, what we do is we receive it at the sample reception. We go through the necessary criteria to see if the sample is good to go for us to run tests on it. If it's not, then it's being rejected. But if we accept it, we go through the process of enrichment of the sample. Then we start the culturing processes. So for today, what I am doing is I'm culturing the sample that has been received here for work. For now, we do receive samples from the herbal, that is beef, pork, chicken, etc. And also, if we are running projects, we do run projects. And with the projects, normally the sample type that we go out for is the cecal sample of chicken. So it depends on the kind of project that is coming in and what we are looking out for. For today's sample is passive sampling. It's a project that we've been running for a while now. We go around checking the, let's say, bacteria existence in poultry. And the sample that we normally use for this process is the fecal sample. Yes.
How long does this process take?
Let's say approximately, let's say 4 days. 4 days, yeah, because it goes through the enrichment process. After the enrichment process, then we do the culturing, bacteria identification, then we do the antimicrobial resistance test as well. The end goal is one, to determine the number or the kind of bacteria in the sample that we are getting from the cecum. And also secondly, to know that if this poultry, if you are running poultry and you get some disease outbreak, what kind of antibiotic will be best to treat such outbreak or diseases. Normally, under normal circumstances, we are supposed to have a biosafety cabinet where we do our works. But unfortunately, we don't have a biosafety cabinet, so the flame helps with the purification of the environment whilst working.
So animals that we eat are food animals, including ruminants, cattle, sheep, goats, including poultry. Sometimes people even consume what do you call it, dogs, including bush meat and all, and then fish. So they are all animals. So we have terrestrial animals and we have aquatic animals. So these are the two distinctions: aquatic and terrestrial. Those who walk on land and those who swim, who are in the waters. We give the permit for imports. What we do is that I told you that we are part of the World Organization of Animal Health, just like WHO. We have an institution for animal health. It's called the World Organization of WOA, and we are a member. And so across the world, everything that happens in terms of disease on animals, the members receive alert. So if you are bringing a product, a poultry product, you want to know whether it is salmonella free, whether it is AI, avian influenza free, that country. If it is not, we will not allow you to bring it from there, because whatever product you are bringing will affect our animals here. So we do a risk assessment. Now, when they are coming, they bring what we call veterinary health certificate. We just want to tell the public that we are in it with them in terms of animal disease control. We cannot do it alone. We need their cooperation, especially people at the slaughter facilities. They should know that they are feeding a lot of people from their facilities, right? And we have some zoonotic diseases that we, through our activities, are preventing from entering the food chain, something like bovine TB. So we are pleading with the public. Those who are also who have knowledge about places where they are doing illegal slaughter, they should also report to us so that action will be taken.
Today's episode of Food Chain was brought to you from the National Food Safety Laboratories Veterinary Services Directorate of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, located at Laboni. Today, we sought to highlight the importance of your meat or your protein safety in your meals as we mark the World Food Safety Day. My name is Emma Davis, and that's it for today's episode. See you same time next week.